even in a recent scenario with the situation that happened with Beyonce, who sampled a song of Kelis's on her new album. It wasn't Kelis's voice, it was instrumental. And Kelis was upset about it because she did not give permission. Even though the song was owned by Pharrell, she felt like she should have been included in the conversation to use the music. And when it came out, she was very emotional. She said some things that let us know that there was a really strained relationship between her and Pharrell, and that she was young. She felt like she was taken advantage of. She acted very emotionally because her real strife was with Pharrell, not necessarily Beyonce. And Beyonce did the queen bee things that she do and just removed the song from the album, which you have to respect. But I think her reaction to me was sort of a new slave mentality, in that, like we've talked before in the previous episode, things that you feel or something that happens within black culture from one artist to the next, when you have a platform, you need to just discuss that behind closed doors. Like, you don't bring that out for everybody to see and just make a complete mockery of the situation. Like, she should have handled it differently. But on the topic of needing to compare, someone in her Twitter feed said that, I'm going to say it verbatim, they basically said something to the notion that they feel like Rihanna sort of have stepped into Kelis provided the wave that Rihanna basically took over, and created the wave that Rihanna rode, sort of speak. And then Kelis' response to that was like, oh, we're going to take it one day at a time, basically saying she pretty much agrees with that, but she's already fought one battle for the moment. Like, we're not going to go into all of that. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, when it comes to Kelis, right, I think she acted on impulse. I think her response and her reaction was definitely like very rapid, and I think it was more so emotional based than kind of thinking about the big picture. My personal opinion is that I think the scenario wasn't really necessarily about Beyonce. I think it was more so about Pharrell. I feel like, maybe she got wronged or wasn't, treated properly with her contracts with Pharrell and the rights and the ownership to her material. And I think, honestly, Beyonce caught a straight bullet. She was just like an innocent bystander that kind of got caught in that web. So for me, like I'm kind of with you on that. I think that's more so new slave mentality on her. But I always like to qualify anything that I say is like, I'm not an insider, right? I'm not in the inner workings of that industry and everything that went on between the relationship with Kelis and Pharrell. Like, I don't know. Right. And then who knows what, like, there might be some beef between Beyonce and Kelis that I wasn't aware of, that never got publicized. But as they always say, any publicity is good publicity. So it's gonna help somebody at the end of the day. Somebody gonna sell some more records, somebody gonna get some more views, somebody gonna get something out of this whole media storm. So
okay, so what do you think about, because here's the direct quote. Someone said, I feel like Rihanna rode the wave created by Kelis. And Kelis' response was, let's not open that Pandora box today. LOL, one step at a time, my friend. How do you feel about that?
Woo! I'm a part of the Navy, man. That's some I mean, that's kind of like, like that is a Pandora's box. And so for me though, I don't see the direct, and maybe I just wasn't watching closely enough to Kelis at the time that Rihanna, became into prominence and got to popping or whatever. But I always seen them as they're two separate individual monsters. They were two beasts on their own.
Right.
And so I think, you
can't compare I Hate You So Much right now to Brother under my
exactly. Exactly.
Like, these are two totally different styles. I can't even begin to see it, because Rihanna kind of came on that Caribbean wave. It wasn't sort of a. I feel like Kelis was like almost like punk rock in a way that's still pop and a little R&B. Like, she was really edgy. Rihanna has an edginess, but it's not in the same way.
Yeah, I think when I first kind of started catching attention, Rihanna started catching my attention. I thought it was more super pop like I thought it was cool and jamming, but to me it was like almost kind of like straight ahead pop at that time. Like the Rihanna that we know now, like the swag and all that, I think that came a little bit later in her career. I didn't really start seeing her like really stepping out into her individuality.
She evolved.
Yeah, her evolution came a little bit
but
later.
But that's make the best artist. Like I was saying about Michael Jackson, it's the ability to evolve,
right,
and become better, but still like be dope at every stage. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when somebody or an artist that kind of timed out, like Kelis, says certain things, it appears to be that she's bitter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's really unfortunate, because if she just kind of was like, had this conversation with Beyonce's people behind closed doors, or, you know, just approach the situation in a different way completely, she wouldn't have to have that stigma. You know, it's kind of like what we were talking about last week with how Monique reacted out in public. And we just got to, that whole action of being emotionally charged in the public is a problem. And that is a part of the new slave mentality that we want to dismantle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always rocking with sisters, especially sisters who are doing their things and you're kind of opening, creating their own lanes and stuff like that. But yeah, I always kind of question when someone, you know, that's of a certain talent doesn't last. I mean, we know how fickle audiences can be, but I think if you're really, truly super talented, you know, maybe you have a sport relationship here, but I always think there's somebody else that you can work with and still get your shit off.
Right.
And get your darts off. And so I don't know what happened with Kelis's career. Maybe she decided the industry wasn't for her no more, like maybe like Lauryn Hill, who was like, I'm not trying to do this no more. But, or trying to be in that light no more. But like, I think if you really want to be on, if you really got the skills, I think there's always somebody that's willing to kind of work with you. So that, you know, leaves a question to be answered. But new slave mentality, it is what it is.
Slave mentality, man. And even years ago when they were comparing Beyonce to Rihanna, like that was problematic, because those, again, are two very different styles. And even to me, a further of a stretch from Rihanna to Kelis is to compare Beyonce to Rihanna, because they're both like are queens in their own right. And so I just really hate this idea of comparison.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, because nostalgia is undefeated. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
You can't beat nostalgia, because, you know, music affects people, especially the way that, you know, it resonates when you're living a certain experience and a song, you know, connects with you in a certain way. Like, you're going to always be transported to that space and time. I think, like, music is like a time capsule, and you can't overcome that. There's usually nothing that will beat, like, one dope song that resonated with you during a certain time in your life. Or it could be like a somber song and you were going through like a bout of depression or whatever. Like, that song is going to always take you back to that place. And you can't beat nostalgia. So I don't even know if it's usually like even worth debating most of the time when you got people you're talking about that are in different eras and different time periods. So